We have the Massaro Park updates. I think, first of all, I want to thank you because you've done an outstanding job on helping us address, that problem. And maybe you could give us like a little update
press the button
as to
and bring it a little
what's
closer.
happening. And maybe while you're here, you've also been very responsive with the ShopRite issues. Maybe you could give us an update on the ShopRite.
Yep.
And also the Greenberg Parks, the outage today.
Yep, that's right. I'm sorry, I'm dressed like this. That's where I was down at the park. So with the ShopRite, ShopRite has...
Just bring it closer to you.
ShopRite has closed them entrances and exits down in the morning till 7:30. Now they close them themselves, so nobody can come even into the park.
How are they doing that?
They're closing it down. Their staff, they have 4 members of their staff that block the entrances, so people can't, the delivery trucks can't come in.
So there's an actual barrier?
Yep, their vehicles are their own barrier, and then they move them at 7:30 in the morning. So they're there from 5:30 every morning.
So
That should work.
what happens if the trucks get there earlier? They're just sitting in the roadway?
Yeah, he said they go up, there's a truck stop up the street in Mount Pleasant somewhere.
Oh,
I
okay.
asked that question, if they're, because I don't see them on the road.
Okay,
He said they're ordered to go up by Home Depot.
yeah. I just had a vision of them waiting in line
No,
with their rotors running.
They're ordered to go to Home Depot, so they make
Okay.
their own enforcement now. So
Okay.
they've been good. I've been there every morning, including Sundays, to make
Excellent.
sure that's calmed down. So
Great.
that's,
you were the building inspector? Did you say you were the building inspector, just
Yes.
for people watching?
yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I'm the bill inspector.
Yeah.
Are there
What's your
any
name
other
again?
And his name is what?
Frank Morabito.
outstanding issues? We mentioned
For
over the
ShopRite?
weekend, there was some landscaping. I think you said that that's in the Parks Department.
Yeah, Garrett is dealing with the trees, the plantings of the trees, and
They're doing
the,
that also.
yep, they're taking care of that. They're still on the TCO.
When would you anticipate a regular, permanent?
That's
Well,
a temporary certificate of occupancy.
Temporary,
Oh, yeah.
but the plantings are supposed to be mid-June.
If, if they get the C of O, and then, they go back to using the trucks, at 5:30, do you have any does this permanent C of O give them more rights than a temporary C of O?
No, the trucks, I think, are going to end. They've gotten enough summonses. They got 3 more on Friday, the Friday before last. So I think they got the message.
I'm just saying, once you issue the C of O, is there any
think
real
it's-
difference?
No, I don't think you're going to see the trucks there. I think they got that point. And we can order summonses again, so.
Okay.
And the lighting issues,
The
are they
lighting
all
issues are
resolved?
addressed. They're out there right now doing the facades on the side of the building to address some of the last of the lighting issues.
Yeah, and then the plantings and
And
the
then the
fencing.
plantings are with Garrett, yes.
That's excellent.
Okay.
And so we have that, and then the Parks Department?
Yep, the Massaro Park, the parking area was closed off. They creating sidewalks and new fencing there with gates for the park. The deli owner's got to get an architect engineer to address some of the structural issues that are been pointed out to him. There's actually outlets that were burning in the facility from the refrigeration when we showed up there also. And he's getting an electrician, so.
He is getting an electric.
Yeah, he's going to get all the contractors.
Is he
He's
still
going to start with
closed?
an engineer first, though, structurally.
Is he still closed then?
He's still
Until he
closed, yes.
resolved those issues, right?
Chief?
Excuse me.
Chief, can you come sit, you're at this conversation as well, sir. Thank you very much. You're not a spectator.
So Frank, the deli was
You can thank me later.
shut down because of these structural issues
Yes.
and because of these
The refrigeration was
electrical
collapsing through
issues.
the floor. The electrical issues, because there was outlets burning, extension cords, there was overrated equipment for undersized wiring.
Okay.
There was a, multi,
So when they take care of all these issues, they're going to be able to reopen?
if they take care of them, yes.
Yeah,
You have to
okay.
get Con Ed to put the power
Yeah,
back.
Right.
Well, but
They
I
gotta do,
mean, that's,
a special
that's a
test on the
job.
electrical wiring. They're going to have to open up some of the floors because some of the structures has collapsed in the middle where the refrigeration is. It's 1915 construction. And it's sitting on dirt, so the framing is probably not too great underneath that.
so these issues must have existed for years.
Yeah.
Interesting.
An accident
Oh,
or a
the
fire
outlet
waiting
was
to
actually
happen.
burning. I actually took a picture of it.
But I'm just, the complaints that we've been getting have been going on for years, and my understanding was that the building department had been out there before.
Right.
And there was no,
I can't answer for before, but I know when I walked in there, it was
well, thank
a
you.
lot of
That's
issues.
a good answer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got that answer.
So, can you talk to me, you had given me an education on conforming. You want to talk about if there's any change to what will happen? Because what we did is there were residents concerned of the current zoning that's in place now. So if you can please
Yeah,
talk
so
about the zoning.
The owner's actually debating on whether to, take them both down and rebuild them.
So when you say they, just be clear so everyone knows what they.
The owner of the building for both the deli, and it's one property.
Uh-huh.
They're looking to either take that down and build new house there.
Because?
Or because of the unsafe structure and the amount of money it's going to take to make the repair.
But the store,
Plus the
hold
time.
on a second.
I got it, I'm
You
getting
know
to it.
exactly where I'm
I know,
going with
I
that. Thank
understand.
you, appreciate it.
And if he's going to have the timing to keep the store, because he's going to be closed for a while for the repairs. She's trying to figure out what he really wants to do in that space right now.
May I ask a question?
Just give me time.
Sorry.
But if I understand correctly, if there's any type of structure done, any type of changes, whether you pull
It's
the wood or
non-conforming.
whether it's non-conforming, right?
Yep.
So it has to conform to the zoning that it's currently now. So the current zoning in that area is single-family housing,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Not commercial.
No.
So if they do anything to that store, whether they try to fix up the store or whatever, it cannot be a store. It would have to be a single-family home. Is that correct?
No.
No, that's not true.
No,
so-
that's not true.
Okay, so,
It's not just anything.
Right.
well,
They
That's
have
what I meant.
they have to tear it down.
They have to tear it down,
tear
right.
it, okay, so
Is-
tear
That's
it
what he's
down
trying
is the thing,
to see if the
okay.
money's worth to put into that store.
Gotcha.
There's a lot
So,
of work there.
so you're saying if they
Okay.
tear it down, then it has to conform to the
Conform
current
to the
zoning?
single-family.
And that was
Yes,
my
yes.
question. It was a mind meld.
Yeah, we're right there, but I know he talked, we had a long conversation about that, and I know there was some concern, and they
I mean,
wanted
there's
to change,
There's
so,
a great amount of work that's got to be done
Mm-hmm.
structurally. Like I said, it's 1915 construction, so.
okay.
Which means it predates the code,
Yep.
because the
Right.
code is
1924.
1924.
30,
31, right?
30,
No, I thought it was 24.
24?
So it's not a question of staying within the footprint. It's a question of the existing
Just
building.
Right, exactly.
And there's a way of taking down it in stages where you don't lose that non-conforming, and so the building inspector has to stay on top of that as
Yep.
well. Right.
Correct.
okay.
Is it the owner who operates the store
No.
or a subcontract,
He
sublessor?
Yeah, he sublets
Sublessor.
the backyard to a construction guy, which he's gotten summonses for. He sublet the deli to somebody, and then he has two-family house also.
Okay.
Which he sublet. He's not an owner occupied. He
Okay.
lives in Ossining.
It
Okay.
seems like the owner is trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he had problems with the tenant, too, from what I understand.
For the people listening, when we say the parking area is closed off and the sidewalk improvements, what are the advantages to the public, the people who live in North Elmsford, for these initiatives?
It's off.
The
No,
button-
the
button.
top, on top, yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Again, for me to, I guess, have a
Hold
full
on a
com-
second. Chief?
Chief Powell, Kobe Powell. Good evening.
Thank you.
Undercover.
I wasn't expecting to be here today.
Never know, surprises we have.
You asked instead of next week.
He left his glasses and fake mustache in the car.
That said,
Oh, he's got a mustache.
there are things I'm prepared to speak to publicly, things that I think we should discuss privately.
Have some conversation.
There is still an open criminal investigation.
Oh.
But that being said, that Tuesday, forgive me for not being able to give you the exact date, myself, the building inspector, head of the Parks and Rec, the head of DPW, we met along with, some of our subordinates, key subordinates, and we discussed issues that, we got with that area. There was construction that was planned for the park this summer anyway. There were discussions between the police department, Parks and Rec, DPW, prior to my becoming chief in regards to some changes that would perhaps deter some of the issues that we were having. So in a way, you know, us getting together at the same time to really look at everything with our own eyes, discuss what needed to be done individually, and how we could perhaps, you know, help each other achieve certain goals by, you know, getting on the same page at the same time, essentially what happened. My understanding is that the sidewalk, the driveway to the deli, which is right by a telephone pole, was non-conforming, wasn't a proper driveway. The sidewalk was not conforming. With regard to the parking lot for Massaro Park itself, if you're all familiar, you know, essentially you pull in at a 90-degree angle to Payne Street. So then you either have to stop and back in, or you have to pull straight in and back out onto Payne Street, which isn't necessarily as safe as having it constructed where the vehicles can pull in one portion and park diagonally, back out inside a protected area that's not on the street, and then exit the other side, much safer for all. Also with, I believe, all the other town parks, if I'm missing a park, forgive me, but there is the ability for Parks and Rec to close a gate and lock the park at night, at least, you know, the parking area for the park. And Massaro has no such, you know, system in play. So the idea being that, you know what, in terms of people congregating off hours in large amounts, them being able to have their vehicles there provides a certain convenience that was not intended for them to enjoy, you know, after dark at night to the inconvenience of the residents. So a little environmental engineering, which allows them, which prevents them from having their vehicles there, you know, and perhaps whatever they might want to have handy in their vehicles, you know, close by, convenient, they'll no longer be able to do that. Changing the signage so that my officers will be more easily able to issue summonses and, if necessary, tow vehicles. Like, we need to be able to enforce what's on the books, but there are ways that we can go about things that makes it easier for us to take enforcement action.
With the enclosure of the lot, is there any loss of parking spaces?
You know what? Again, a little bit out of my wheelhouse, so I can't really say. Possibly, maybe it'll create more. Possibly they'll lose some. I'm not the department head to answer that question.
And for those who are not familiar with the park is fenced in.
Yes.
As it stands.
What I will say, I'm trying to be careful in what I'm prepared to say publicly and what I would like to discuss with the board privately. But I know it had come up that, you know, I guess someone expressed a concern about having a fence around the park. There's been a fence around that park since I was 8 years old.
Right.
I'm 48. So that fence has been there a long time. You cross Cabot from the east side, from the west side of the street to the east side of the street. There's been a 6-foot chain link fence there since I was a child. So the idea of having a little bit more fencing to enclose the northern part of the park, it is for the residents. I met with a group of approximately 10 residents last Monday evening. And in terms of the things that DPW is going to be doing, the building department is doing, Parks and Rec is doing, and the police department is doing, they are on board, appreciative, and supportive of not only what's already happening, but what is planned. Because at the end of the day, they are suffering quality of life issues that need to be addressed.
I mean, you're doing an amazing job. This is really like such an important quality of life, you know, initiative. It's been long-standing, and it's really impressive that, you know, parks, the building department, public works, the police department, that everybody's working together and coming up with, you know, with solutions.
And the town attorney's office.
Thank you. He was going to say me next, right?
And just to address
Thank
the
God
front of the
everybody's
deli,
been great.
there was a drop curb put in that was not supposed to be there, and no driveway. There's now going to be grass restored back, there's going to be a pathway from the steps to the new sidewalk, and there's going to be a raised curb across that whole thing, so there's no more parking on top of the sidewalk on the deli and creating all that nonsense that was going on.
And when I spoke to Rich, the work has already started.
Yep.
And he asked if we could, you know, take money before the capital budget is approved, and, you know, so we can continue to do the work, you know, immediately.
Okay, so we're in
Yeah,
good
I
shape.
wonder if we should
Yeah.
ask is Rich or Brian available? Because while we're here, maybe, Rich or Brian, or even Jerry would want to,
They're not on.
right.
I think we're good on that.
Yeah, this is great.
Thank
It's
you.
just too bad someone had to be stabbed in order for this all to come together. But thank you very much for being on top of
Yeah.
everything.
I wonder if we should have like an initial work session meeting, say, at Massaro Park, with some of the residents, maybe sometime in July, where we could say, because there's also park improvements that we're going to be doing. We're doing like a lot on Massaro, and I think that, it's nice for people in the neighborhood to see that they've been listened to. And, I think this would be a really good, time where we could say, look, we did this, we did this, we did that. These are the park improvements, these are safety improvements. What, I mean, would that make sense?
I think it would be helpful to do that in addition to our regular work sessions, because as we mentioned before, we have a lot to catch up with.
Okay, maybe we could take like a early evening one. When would you think? Probably a month from now?
Yeah, it could be
2
a
months?
press announcement if it's done.
Yep, soon as the work
Make
is done,
it,
then you can
yeah,
just
this
give-
is
give
what
that
we've
heads
done
up.
here
Couple
and
weeks
to our
before it's
park.
done.
On the deli side, tomorrow to pour the sidewalk. They're setting the curbs, so.
And I think, knowing what was going on, because you were working with Candace well before the stabbing, that there was quite a bit of emphasis on making changes over there. You were looking at the
Yeah.
electric meters and the number of electric meters on the side of
parks and all over.
supposedly a single-family house, and addressing that. But there's no doubt that, it takes a tragedy to expedite things even more.
All right, Paul, you want to?
Thank you very much.